Hey everybody, it's Charlie from DM Moto, and if you want a simple, affordable, accessible, lightweight, and fun motorcycle here in the United States, or really many places around the world, it's hard to beat Honda's CB500F. This is a two-cylinder, 471cc parallel twin, making an unexcitable amount of power and torque. Really nothing exciting about this powertrain, but when you pair it up with a lightweight body like this, and some smaller wheels, and decently aggressive fairing like this, you get a fun little two-wheeled package. And for $6,500 at your local Honda dealer after destination fee, you could do a lot worse. This model has been out for a long time, and also, side note, this looks really cool from this lower angle like this. I should probably do the thumbnail like this. But this model's been out for a long time, and now it's called the CB500F Hornet. But we've ridden this bike a long time ago, actually had a really cool ride through Switzerland. We actually rented a CB500. Alyssa rode on the back with me. It was a wonderful time. Despite it being a smaller motorcycle, it's still great for two people going through the Swiss Alps. And we've ridden this engine in a lot of different platforms too. We've ridden it on the SCL 500, the NX 500. I haven't ridden a Rebel 500. Or a CBR 500, but this one is kind of the core, kind of the base, kind of the simple, straightforward, go out and have fun motorcycle. So I will be riding the CB500F for a number of months, and I'll be shooting my full review at the end, but this is a little bit more of a raw first impression and what it would be like to ride this bike daily kind of video. So we're going to head over to the gas station, we're going to fill it up, go out and do about 42 miles, come back, fill it up again, see what sort of fuel economy we got in all sorts of mixed riding, and also talk about what it'd be like if you're going to ride this bike daily to the office or to school or any sort of regular real world kind of riding experience. Now we also have Kawasaki's Z500 in the garage over there. I'm going to be shooting a comparison test between the two of them about halfway through my time with both, so stay tuned if you're finding this video later on. Take a look at that, it's going to be pretty cool. So let me throw my gear on and let's get out on the ride. All right, already a crazy morning here. I actually dropped the CB500F coming out of my garage, getting it ready, so disappointing there. We have broken the brake lever, scratched up a few other parts, and yeah, so just trying to keep myself coordinated here. Cold start it. Let it warm up slightly. I also have a whole new suite of gear on today, so that was another thing I was paying attention to. All from Revit. We got the, oh gosh, I gotta try to keep the names of everything all square in my head because it's all new, but we got the Revit dirt gloves in sand color, dirt and sand. We have the Ortez jeans, the boundless boots, and I think the off-track jacket. So no real impressions yet, but today will be the first ride with all this. I'm also just now realizing that I don't have my neck gaiter thing on. Man, sometimes it just feels good to get riding, you know what I mean? You got one of those mornings, everything is kind of pushing downhill. I'm leaving about an hour and a half later than I initially planned on, but once you just get moving, once you get on the bike and the air's flowing on you, that's when everything sort of calms down. You just get to enjoy. And I suspect that's going to be the big theme of this motorcycle. It's just riding. This is not a spec-driven motorcycle. This is an experience-driven motorcycle. This is, don't worry about what you're riding. Go out and enjoy riding. Pure and simple. Now, I also suspect this should be one of our better fuel economy results in a long time. I think the NX 500 got pretty darn good fuel economy. This one should be even better. It's lighter. It's, I would think, more aerodynamic being smaller, and same motor. So I'm looking forward to it here, and can't come soon enough because fuel prices have recently gone up. I'm not sure if you heard. Oh, that is a fancy Metris right there. So here we are. 87 octane, all you need to put in the tank, so that's going to save you money at the pump as well. We have a fairly simple but effective gauge cluster screen here on the CB500F Hornet for 26. It's pretty much the same one you get on the bigger Hornets. Just a little bit less functionality here. But let's open up our trip, do trip B, reset, we'll reset our trip B. All right, 600 miles on the bike. Now, a few other things to note for today. No sort of ride modes on the CB500F. You simply get on, you twist the throttle, and you ride. Outside temperature, perfectly beautiful 70-degree day here in mid-March, Southern California. We do have our tire pressure set to their placard 36 PSI front, 42 PSI rear. Some of you might say that is high. However, that's what the bike says it wants. So we can only do these tests based on factory specs in order to stay fair and consistent. And I'm going to be riding as one might on an average commute. I'm not going to be ringing this thing out everywhere. I'm not going to be speeding a bunch. We're going to stay within about 5 miles per hour of the posted speed limits. And also, let's just get it right out of the way. Here in California, it is perfectly legal to lane filter, as I just did. Somebody in the comments of a recent video said, lane filtering is so rude. And I don't quite understand why. If anything, I'm actually being helpful, because instead of taking up a spot back there in line that other cars could use, I'm up here in the front and went right between, didn't take anybody's spots. I'm going to take off much quicker than the Prius V next to me. I'm pretty sure he shouldn't be concerned. And if somebody wants to pass me later on, they certainly can. I don't understand how that's rude. As long as I'm paying attention, right? Which, considering that Tesla is just now starting to move, I would say I'm just fine. But anyway, yeah, we're just going to ride nice and easy here. Like I said, enjoy being out on the road, on two wheels, on the CB500F. Lots of wind flow being on a naked motorcycle like this. Now, typically I ride with earplugs in, but in a bit of my rush, and also knowing that I would have clean air on me today, I decided not to wear them. So the highway portion will be a bit interesting, but I am wearing the Arai Contour X, which is a fairly quiet helmet, so I'm not too concerned about wind noise. We have a slipper and assist clutch on the CB500F, which makes it so easy to shift and move this bike around. Why aren't you going? Bro, you got here so much earlier than I did. That truck had time to go. Silly. Anyway, very, very light clutch pulls, easy clutch changes, and if you're not rev match downshifting, if I want to go from fourth down here to third, I just let the clutch out. There's a little bit of a progression right there. It doesn't snap the rear tire. Very beginner friendly. And not only beginner friendly, but casual riding friendly. That's the thing, is some people refer to these bikes as beginner bikes, and I do agree they're fantastic bikes for beginners, but also they're just good bikes to ride if you're somebody who doesn't need to be screaming up to triple digits all the time. You don't need to be riding a bike around that weighs 600 pounds and has a blind spot monitoring and adaptive cruise control. You just want to enjoy riding. And on top of that, maybe you don't need to be spending an extra few $1,000s on fancy paint and body work like on the W800 we had recently. You'd rather save money at the dealership, save money on parts, and just have a nice, simple little riding experience. You don't need a big, heavy clutch then. You just want something light and easy that you can be looking around and enjoying nature. Not to mention, these 500 Honda motors do have a fun little grunt to their exhaust note. Doesn't sound fantastic when you rev it out, but the down low where you're kind of just idling and getting off idle and accelerating, it sounds kind of cool. It's a great little ergo check too. I'm 5'10", 165 pounds, 32-inch inseam, and I fit nicely on this bike. My legs are a little bit more bent than I would want, maybe if I were riding for multiple hours throughout the day. Like I said, I did ride one of these for an entire day in Switzerland, and I wasn't uncomfortable. I was having too much fun to be uncomfortable. But there's a nice engagement from this two-piece seat, kind of leaning forward. So I do have a little bit of weight on my wrists, but it's just enough so that once I get up to about 50 miles per hour here, the wind is kind of pushing me backward, giving me a nice comfortable lean, and then I can always scoot forward in the seat and kind of pull my torso up at lower speeds. The brakes on the CB500F, they're here, they work, but most importantly, they come standard with anti-lock brakes. Now, there is not a debate in my eyes about the benefits of anti-lock brakes. The long and short of it, can you technically stop quicker using threshold braking than relying on the anti-lock brakes? Yes, you can. However, in majority of emergency braking scenarios out here in the real world, you're panicking. Something happens in front of you, you need to grab as much brake as possible, you squeeze down, you're not already preloaded or anything, you just grab a bunch of brake lever and try to stop. And those are the situations in which anti-lock brakes are vastly beneficial in keeping the bike upright and actually bringing you to a stop on your rubber rather than locking both tires up and leading you to skid out. And if you're a veteran rider and a veteran braker and you think you can outbrake ABS, the good news is you can still threshold brake even with anti-lock brakes. You can cover the brake and lean into it and slow yourself down just about as fast as you could without anti-lock brakes. So I appreciate that Honda simply makes them stock standard and required here on the CB500F, at least here in America. I don't know if any other countries get this bike without ABS, but we get but one configuration of the 500F Hornet here in America for 2026. And that part is a bit of a disappointment to me. I like that we get ABS standard, but I don't like that the only color you can choose is black. I don't know, I just give us a special edition or something with some white or some red. I mean, if I'm buying a Honda, I probably want to get a red bike, but maybe they think, all right, well, you got to get a CBR if you want red. I'm not saying this black doesn't look good, it's just, I don't know, give us some more fun colors and options. Plus, I'm somebody who likes to be seen on a motorcycle, so that's why my helmet is bright yellow. I would like my motorcycle to be seen a bit as well. Now again, if you live in an area where you are either legally allowed to lane filter or you just choose to do it, a little bike like the CB500F, excellent for it. Nothing on the back to worry about width-wise, and even here on the front, handlebars and mirrors not too wide, and it's also fairly low down, so I can usually get under most people's side view mirrors. And that's the other thing with lane filtering, is it's one of the best ways to get around traffic here in Southern California. It's one of the biggest benefits of riding a motorcycle is, yeah, you put your life on the line, but you can get places quicker. There's a huge bit of traffic that I just shuffled my way through here. And again, the cars aren't in any more traffic because of me lane filtering. If anything, they're in less. So it's a benefit all around. I don't really think I'm putting anybody's lives at risk when they're sitting in their 4,000-pound cars and I'm on my little 450-pound CB500F. Again, with this torquey little motor and fairly lightweight, you can kind of take off in second gear pretty regularly on this bike. We're in second now, a little bit of a hill, slip the clutch just slightly more. No problem pulling away. Makes it even that much smoother and easier to ride this little bike around. I also appreciate that at this price point we have a gear indicator. Wow! So often in my smaller bike reviews I lament motorcycles that don't have a gear indicator. And then people come into the comments and be like, you don't need a gear indicator on a motorcycle. Well, sure, you don't need it, but it is nice to have, especially if you're a younger rider, newer rider. You're paying attention to traffic, and you might want to look down and be like, oh, I forgot what gear I was in because I clutched in from 6th. And then I got to get down to some other gear. It's just nice to have. Simply a gorgeous Saturday morning here on PCH. Our classic view right there. Waves rolling in nicely. It's one of those few weekends that I don't mind working. I mean, it'd be nice to be out there, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit of crisp in the air. Kind of appreciating the warmth of my off-track jacket. Even this guy's like, man, I wish I were out there. Event happening here in Laguna Beach this Saturday. That's not good. Might be putting more of the lane filtering to work on this little bike. See, there's so much about motorcycling that to me makes the most sense on a light motorcycle. But don't get me wrong, I appreciate the comfort and the technology and the riding experience on something like the BMW R1300 RT that we had. In fact, what's that right there? That I think that was an R1300. It might have even been a K1600. Those are great and cool and all. However, they're kind of more impressive in the way that they're like a car. And to me, if I'm going to be out on a motorcycle, I want it to be as far away from a car experience as possible, or else I would simply be in my car. So something like this Honda CB500F Hornet makes more sense to me. This is the type of bike I would own, because when I'm out riding, it's probably just me. It's probably just an opportunity that I have to go out and enjoy being on two wheels. So for me, lightweight, peppy little motor, easy to ride around, zip around traffic, comfortable but yet still fun and exciting. That's motorcycling to me. I'm not yucking your yum if you like to be on a bigger bike, or if you ride for the look or the long touring comfort or adventure riding. I get all of that. I'm just saying I like this. Coming into Laguna Beach, where exhaust note matters. Again, grunty little exhaust, and then you kind of hear the little bit of pops on decel. Ready? Well, it doesn't really do it at high revs, but at lower revs, we'll see here in a minute, it's kind of got a little blub 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 blub. There we go. That's kind of cool. And here's the thing. I'm all for aftermarket exhausts pretty much on V-twin 650s and up. But if you just have a little 180 degree twin 500cc like this, don't even bother with the aftermarket exhaust. All it's going to do is make the bike louder. And you know what? If you have a differing opinion, send me a clip of your exhaust. Maybe I'll disagree. But in general, a bike like this is just gonna keep it stock, keep it simple, especially when it already sounds decent like it does. I do not think we're going to be able to make the lane filter all the way up. We have a Grand Wagoneer and an Escalade next to each other, although as we get closer they are offset. I think we're good. Ooh, this one though. You know what? This Corvette's way over. We're gonna get creative. We're gonna go around this side, and then we're gonna go back. Again, nice little lightweight bike like this. Slipper and assist clutch. I may or may not have scraped that van. I apologize. Oops. Mr. White Van Man, if you are watching this, email me, charlie@thedailymotor.com. I will reimburse you for your Oxford white paint. All 17 cents of it. Oh no, our route is closed. We're gonna have to modify. What do we do? These people are wondering the same thing. They were like, we were gonna go that way. Oh man, now I'm gonna have to recalculate my mileage and everything, and we can't legally turn left there either. Huh. Well, this is what I get for riding on a Saturday, I suppose. We're not gonna get to do the 3rd Street Hill on the CB500F. Big sad. No, you can't go this way either. Well, we're getting a beautiful little detour through Laguna Beach. Some absolutely gorgeous roads and houses, but I simply want to continue on my ride here. Also, some of these hills really putting the slipper and assist clutch to the test. Despite the detour's best efforts, we have made it to our spirited riding section. And as I said, no sort of ride modes here on the CB500F. You simply twist your wrist more when you want to ride spiritedly. That's what I intend to do. We're going to let this Cayenne GTS get a little further away and then open it up. Not not a super high red line on the little 471cc twin here. It's also not super happy to be up there. It's not mad about it, it's just doing it. It's not like the Cowie motor that really loves being revved out. But it does mean you got a nice wide power band, so even coming up this hill, don't have to be right on the boil to get power out of your engine. Yeah, I am running into that rev limiter earlier than I expect. I kind of want it to rev out more. I mean, we've got 8,500 RPM redline. It's not super high for a little parallel twin like this. I had a Ninja 250 that you could rev well up over 10 grand, and it's not like it made more power, it's just more fun. But I will say it's the first time I've noticed that at all throughout this ride on the CB500, so it's not an issue for daily riding. Probably something that'll come up a little bit more in our conversation in the actual review. We don't typically film this section because not really anything going on, but it's kind of cool coming down from top of the world here in Laguna Beach. There's a marine cloud layer over the ocean, and we are above it here. You can see how low the clouds are. So you look out, oftentimes you can see Catalina Island, you can see the water and everything, but a low cloud layer. We are above the clouds right here at probably 200 feet. It's kind of cool. Wrapping up with the city portion of our ride here on the CB500. As I was saying, it's a great little bop around town kind of bike. Nimble, easy to shift, lightweight, coming in just a hair under 60 MPG according to the readout. And no qualms riding this bike around, and very easy to stand with as well. I was going to mention that. No, it's okay, Mercedes. I don't think I'm making it behind this truck. Mostly thanks to this Model X. But, oh my gosh, look at the panel gap. Side note on this Model X. The rear door and the front door just don't even line up. Not the door handles. Pretty sad. But anyway, very easy to stand on this bike as well. Not a very high seat. I think it's just a hair over 31 inches, but it's also a pretty narrow seat. So it makes it so your legs get down pretty easily. We're coming into more of the Suburban 50-ish mile per hour section now. Gonna get a little bit more wind flow on us. Still pretty comfortable though. Getting ready for the highway portion here. A little naked bike. Should have no problem getting up to speed, but the wind will certainly be blowing us around a little bit. Hopefully you all will be able to hear me okay. If the audio is not great, I'll wrap up my thoughts at the end of the highway section and get it there. Here we are, 70 miles per hour, cruising just under 6,000 RPM. Minimal vibration from this little motor, very well tamed. And again, nice clean wind. You have to remember that if you're not doing a ton of highway miles, it's often better to have clean air blowing on you with no windshield than some of those bikes that have like a half-height windshield or something. It actually blows turbulent air right at your helmet. It'll often sound louder than just having no windshield like this. So on a decently warm day like this with gear on, it's actually a nice place to be. And again, the ergos kind of get you to scoot your butt back and lean forward onto the handlebars just enough that I almost have no weight on my wrists because the wind is just pushing my torso back a little bit. Now some people will say, oh, a little bike like that, you've been blown around on the highway, I don't feel safe. Come on. It's not that light of a motorcycle. It's not like we're on a little dual sport or something. It's plenty planted enough. I mean, yeah, is it going to feel as solid as cruising down the highway on an 800-pound Harley or something? No. But I'd have no problem riding this on the highway. I'm not feeling any less safe on this than I would on pretty much any other larger motorcycle out here. And even in 6th gear, I've got enough mid-range grunt that I can accelerate and get away from traffic, no problem. No cruise control, not very surprising here on a bike that costs this little. and is this small. It's not intended to be doing big long miles on the highway. It was a little bit more of a disappointment not to have cruise control on the Transalp 750. That one I could see people doing more miles on, but yeah, it is what it is with this one. Fine little bike to be taken on the highway. Wasn't getting blown around. Power was there. Now I will admit these are pretty ideal weather conditions that we're riding in, so if you were commuting on this bike regularly, if it were colder or wetter or hotter, well, hotter would be fine, no windshield, but colder or wetter, you'd have to be contending with the lack of wind protection on here. But 70-degree sunny day, nice bike to be out on. And overall, a nice little bike to ride. I mean, are we surprised? It's Honda, and it's a little bike. It's got grunt, it's got character, it's playful. Maybe not the sportiest, but for a daily rider type bike like this, it's really hard to go wrong with something this comfortable and easy to ride. Now, I am surprised a little bit by the fuel economy we're seeing on the readout here on the bike. 59.5. I was expecting to be well into the 60s. And we did have a little bit more kind of slower speed negotiating through Laguna Beach, but still, I thought we'd be up into the 60s. We actually saw the fuel economy trending down on the highway, and again, I don't know what's more fuel efficient, this or the NX that has the windshield on it. You could maybe pose the argument that despite the NX being a little bit heavier and a little bit larger in front, it's more fuel efficient than more aerodynamic rather than my body. So either way, I'm gonna have to compare the numbers we got on that bike to this one, but I'm going to top it off here at the pump. And then in most situations, I would crunch our final numbers here right afterward with you. But because our route was modified, I'm going to have to go home and actually manually calculate the number of miles traveled based on GPS. Fun fact, I was the last person to use this pump over an hour and a half ago. Still my 0.620 gallons that I put in. Unless there's somebody else who came to this pump and also put in 0.620 gallons. Kind of doubt that. Back and all fueled up with the CB500F, and went in and calculated that we did 43.3 miles. A little bit extra there getting through Laguna Beach because of the festival that they were having, and we put in 0.767 gallons of 87 octane back into the tank. So 43.3 miles divided by 0.767 gallons is giving us, okay, yeah, still not an amazing figure, for 56 MPG, coming in a little bit lower even than the bike's readout. That's just a bit surprising to me. I gotta go and back, you know what, I'll do it right now. We'll take a look and see what the NX500 got. So we got 60 miles per gallon with the NX500, 56 here with the Honda, the 500F. You know, the fill isn't necessarily 100% accurate when it comes to motorcycles or cars, really, because we can't 3-click fuel them with the bike the way we do the cars, where it kind of, I try to visualize it with the fuel coming back up. So what I do is kind of go with the bike tilted over when I'm filling it. I try to get it to kind of come right up to the same spot, but maybe I slightly overfilled it on the refill. Either way, somewhere around that 56 to 60 mile per gallon figure. What did the bike end up coming out to? 59, I think it was. Yeah, 59.6. So let's split the difference. Let's go 58 MPG here for the 500F Hornet. And again, I'm a little surprised that we didn't see a tad bit better, especially considering that NX, a little bit bigger and heavier, got 60, both from the bike's readout and from our calculations. Fortunately, Honda still gives you a 4.5 gallon fuel tank on here, so 4.5 gallons times 58 MPGs, giving you a very healthy 260 miles of daily riding range here on the 500F Hornet. And admittedly, if you're going to be riding daily and commuting on the bikes, the NX is going to be a better bike for you. It's going to offer a little bit better wind protection, a little bit better, more comfortable ergonomics. But if you're just riding occasionally, daily riding, the 500F Hornet is just so good for getting on and being able to throw around and feel a little bit more fun and exciting, and definitely look cooler while still having the ease, reliability, and affordableness here of this 471cc inline twin. So like I said, check out our other videos. Stay tuned. This one's going to be coming out first, but then we got the comparison with the Z500 sitting over there, as well as our full review on the 500F Hornet. You can find the links below to our NX coverage as well. We'll try to maybe we'll try to get the CB500R at some point and round out the 500F lineup here, and maybe the Rebel as well. But either way, this is a great little daily rider bike. Throw a little tank bag on there, maybe a backpack from Helite or something, and you got yourself a fun little run around. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from DM Moto, and as always, ride on.